welcome to this PriceAJob tutorial. In this video, we'll take a look at how to record sales invoices. To record a sales invoice, first go to your accounting tab here in the top navigation bar, and the quickest method is to use the quick tools here along the top. Just click this icon here to add a new invoice. Alternatively, if you prefer, you can select the Invoices module here in the left-hand sidebar, and then on the right-hand side of the table, select Add Invoice. Either of these methods will open the new invoice window. To enter your invoice, start on the left-hand side here by selecting your customer from the drop-down list. If your customer doesn't appear in this list, you can create a new customer by selecting Create New Customer. Once you've selected your customer, then you can select the project that this invoice is assigned to. The invoice number is automatically generated with the next number in sequence after your last invoice. If you prefer to input a custom invoice number, you can do so. And then the next invoice you generate will be the next number in sequence after this one. Then you can input your invoice date by selecting this. You can choose a date from the calendar, and then input your payment term. We can say here 15 days, and then PriceAJob will automatically calculate the payment due date based on 15 days term from the invoice date. And then here we can input our tax rate, and we see a few standard tax rates available here by default, and if the tax rate we require is not listed here, we can input a new tax rate here. We need 8%. So now that we've input that, we can select from our drop-down menu and choose 8% tax. And if we'll be applying a discount to this invoice, we can select from here either no discount or a percentage discount, and in that case we can input the percentage here, say 10%, or if we're offering a fixed discount, we can select fixed and input the dollar amount, say here 1,000. In this case, we'll offer a percentage discount of 5%. And now to input our invoice items. We can do this manually by typing an item in the description here, input the quantity, and input the rate. And PriceAJob will calculate our subtotal plus our discount. And our discount didn't carry through here, it's got entered as 0, so let's adjust that to 10%. And this shows our discount of $500 at a 10% discount. And then our taxes on the subtotal, and the calculated grand total. And here we can input any payment details we wish. And if we want to add any more invoice items, we can do so by selecting Add Item, and we can add as many items to this description as we wish. And if we have some extra rows here that we don't want to include, we can remove those by clicking the trash icon on the right. Now this is a manual way of inputting your invoice items, but to do so automatically using the PriceAJob system, we can just add our items directly from the estimate by clicking the Add from Estimate button here. And this shows our estimate summary here, broken down by each subcategory of work that we have to perform. So for example, if we want to invoice for the site work, we could select Site Work, and that would automatically include all the tasks involved with the site work. If we're only invoicing for the general preparation, then we can select that on its own. And if we want to invoice for the entire project, we can select All. In this case, we're only going to be invoicing for the site work. So let's go ahead and import that into our invoice. And each of the tasks have been individually itemized here, the general preparation and the demolition removal. But we don't really want to itemize each of the tasks, so let's remove these and go back to Add from Estimate, and we'll select Site Work, and this time we'll combine all these tasks into one invoice item by selecting the checkbox for Combine, and then click Import. And now we have one invoice item for general preparation and demolition removal combined. And we can do that for each of these subcategories if we wish. So we'll do one for Substructure, Combine, and this time instead of showing a detailed report, let's uncheck the detailed so that this invoice item will just show Substructure. And that's a handy function because if we were to import something like, say, Structure here, which has many tasks below it, and combine this as a detailed invoice item, we would end up with a very wordy invoice item here. And that may not be preferable. So let's delete this and re-add this from the estimate. Structure, we'll combine that as a non-detailed invoice item and import. And that's much cleaner on our invoice. You can also use the Add from Estimate button to add invoice items from your timesheet. So select the timesheet category here, and then from the drop-down menu, you can choose the worker whose timesheet you want to add. So in this case, we'll add Alex's timesheets. And then we can choose a date range here. And you can select that off of the calendar, or scroll back to find different months. Or on the left pane, you can click on the month to choose a month from the list, or click on the year to choose a year from the list. And then input our to range, and this will show all of the timesheet entries for this worker within that date range. You can choose specific dates that you only wish to invoice for, or click the Select All box to select all. We can itemize each of these individually, or we can combine them all into one invoice item by selecting the Combine checkbox here. And then Import. And this imports the timesheet for Alex for this date range as another invoice item. If you have any files you would like to attach to this invoice, you can upload files using this button here. And if you'd like to see any payments that this customer has made, you can click the Show Payments button here, and this will show a list of invoice payments. And in this case, the client actually has credits available of $17,800. If you wish to hide these payments, you can re-click this button to hide those payments. When you're ready, you can print this invoice, save it as a PDF, or mail it to your client directly from within PriceAJob. When you click Save, the new invoice that we numbered 1234 is added to your invoice screen and allocated to the customer account. We can see here under the status that it shows as open as compared to the previous invoice, which has a status of paid. And that's how to record a sales invoice. Thank you for using PriceAJob.